Howdy folks, this is Ardwulf, and I'm coming to you with another episode of Ardwulf Presents. This time I am coming to you from EVE Online, the granddaddy of space games. And we're going to show you a little bit of EVE Online here. I have a trial account right here. It's easy to get a 14-day trial account. All you have to do is go to EVE Online's website, which I will put in the notes below. And you can get a 14-day trial, or if you want to send me a message through YouTube and giving me your email address, I can send you a buddy key, which will get you a 21-day free trial. So go ahead and do that if you like. In the meantime, I've been going through these tutorial missions down here. You'll start out in a system and run through some basic tutorials, and they will send you to another system after a relatively short amount of time, where you will have a selection of agents available to you, and these are the tutorial agents. There are 5 of them. I've been going through the military tutorials. I'm actually on the last one. You'll see offered right down here. That means that he has offered me a mission, which I have not yet accepted, but I'm about to, and I'm going to show you that mission. This is going to be the last of the basic military missions right here. So let's right-click on him to start a conversation. And here he will give you the details of the mission. This is different because it is actually in another star system. The rest of the entire sequence here has all been here in this star system. So that's not a problem. Before we click accept, because there's normally, there's no time limits on these particular tutorial missions, but there is a bonus if you complete the mission within, say, 6 hours in this case. And he gives me actually a new frigate, a skill book, and 227,000 ISK, which is the currency of EVE Online. Before I accept the mission, I'm going to right-click on the destination system here and set destination. So it's actually 2 systems away. So I'll be able to follow these. You'll see how I do that in a moment here, once I get out into space. Now let's accept the mission and undock. One thing that I did not show you just now was the captain's quarters. Maybe I'll show you that when we get back if we have time. It is a relatively new feature in EVE Online. This is very much the granddaddy of the sandbox MMOs. Now, you'll notice I have my route mapped out here, and I go to Ardwulf, which is a 0.9 security system. I hope to talk about that. And Lair, which is a 1.0. None of these systems have a security rating. This is the security status of that system that I have to particularly worry about. So I'm going to highlight the Stargate to Ardwulf. It's French, so I can't pronounce it. And I'm going to click on jump up here. And you'll see that I am able to mouse look around with the mouse by holding down the left button. I can mouse look off the center of my ship by holding down the right mouse button, and I can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, which we'll be doing some of. You can zoom all the way in if you want. I have the Galente Federation flag on my ship here. Actually just got my first drone drop in the last mission, but I was not able to put it in this particular frigate. As you can see, we've got some big ships here. These are NPC ships. This is a Galente customs ship. Good thing I got rid of that contraband that I got in the last mission. Here we have arrived in the Lair system. You can sort of see my ship if you got this video playing in 1080p. It's right here. I show up cloaked in a new system, so we'll go to the Lair Stargate and jump through that, and we'll be at our destination. You can also click on this down here and warp to the station that you're looking for, or the Stargate, or if you're in that system, directly to the location. I've never gone through this system, this set of missions before. It is a really good idea to go through all the tutorial missions in EVE Online. Even if you don't intend to do mining and industry, for example, you should go through the mining and industry tutorial, because you'll get a bunch of stuff that would cost you a bundle of money if you have to just go buy it. And that typically includes a ship. It's a frigate, which are the smallest and least expensive ships, but you can always use frigates. They're highly versatile. EVE is not like MMOs where your gear will become obsolete if you consider gear to be your ship. I'm going to warp to the location of the mission. There are always uses for frigates. Maybe you decide that you want to fly a bigger ship, but that's up to you. There's still plenty of good reasons to fly frigates. I'm going to close my cargo hold. This consolidated inventory screen is another new addition from a relatively recent update. If you haven't heard, CCP, the publisher of EVE Online, has just announced that there's another expansion on the way by the end of the year. It is called Retribution. And it's going to include a revised bounty system, which is good because the bounty system really doesn't work right now. It works, but it doesn't work, if you know what I mean. It does not function as intended in the player dynamic. Now, this particular mission point has an acceleration gate in it, and there's nobody around here to shoot at, so I'll just take the acceleration gate to the next quote-unquote room, as we call them, of the mission. And here we do have some guys to shoot at, and we're going to remove the large collidable structure from our overview because we don't want it cluttering up the important targets. We'll lock on to this guy and orbit him. I have already set my orbital distance to be my optimal orbital distance, which is 3,000 kilometers. Is it kilometers or meters? I think it's 3,000 meters. And that's dependent on the type of weapon that you're using. Let's lock onto a second guy. This is a new character, so I don't have the ability to lock more than 2 targets with this guy at the moment. That'll change eventually. You can get skills that will increase that limit. And I'm firing some guns. Actually, I'm not firing some guns. I'm used to other MMOs. In EVE, we use the function keys to activate weapons. I'll take these guys down pretty quickly. And you can see up here in the overview that these guys do have a bounty of 3,000 ISK apiece, which will be deposited directly in my account upon their deaths. I'm taking a little bit of damage. I'm showing you the very, 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 very basics of EVE's ship combat here. I make no claims to be particularly good at this. But I've got an afterburner going, which increases my speed. If I am faster, that makes me harder to hit, which is obviously desirable. Let's lock on to the next guy. Activate. There's a small cycle time to reactivate your weapons after the last guy got blown up, or after you manually deactivate them. As you can probably see here, EVE is a fantastic looking game. Looks like there is another acceleration gate here, so there's going to be a room after this one. There's another knucklehead down. Lock onto the last one. Sometimes more will spawn. Now, once you get into regular mission running, then the missions become somewhat more sophisticated. There will be missions, for example, when there's an objective that's other than blow these guys up, and you do have to get in, accomplish the objective, and bail as quickly as possible. Unless you are dramatically outgunning the mission, which can happen. These Corelli spies are kind of a pain. They don't do a lot of damage to me, but in my current configuration I'm finding that they take a while to knock out of the sky. Anyway, as I was saying, I think you can see that this is a good looking game. Again, I can zoom all the way in. I can zoom out to preposterous distances. And I am maintaining, by the way, even recording this video, and I don't know what anybody else's performance experience with the EVE Online client has been, but I am pulling a consistent 60 frames per second. Now, you know, granted, my computer's pretty good, but I don't always pull a consistent 60 frames per second in Skyrim, for example. In fact, sometimes I'm in the single-digit frame rate, which is super annoying. Now down here is my ship display. There are 3 rings of points. The outer ring is my shields, the middle ring is my armor, and the inner ring is my structure. If you start getting into structure, you're in trouble. Shields regenerate on their own. You can also get modules that fit into your ship that will make them regenerate faster or will harden the shields against certain types of damage. Armor and structure do not regenerate on their own, but you can find modules that will regenerate them for you. even modules that will let you restore the armor and shields or structure on other ships. Don't accidentally target the bad guys when you're doing that. And that's a good example of how you can still get quite a bit of utility out of relatively small ships in EVE. So we're going to go loot these wrecks before we move on to the next room. And you can tell that there's stuff in the wreck by the fact that this triangle right here is hollow. This one is solid. That means there's something in the wreck. I have to be within, I think, 2,500 meters to loot. Let's open up my inventory again. Open this guy. I've been finding a lot of these metal scraps. I suspect this is some new piece of loot that has been introduced to the game relatively recently. However, they actually sell for halfway decent money, so that's okay. At some point, a slightly more advanced character than this guy could actually also salvage the wrecks themselves, which can be quite lucrative. Alright, we have all the wrecks looted. Let's activate the gate and go to the next room. Let us, while we're at it... am I out of ammo? Let's hope I have enough. Looks like I didn't load up on ammo before leaving the station, which is dumb. And we got another room here. If I absolutely have to, even right now, I could warp back to the... starbase and buy some more ammo. Of course, that's 2 systems away, which I don't really want to do that. So let's see what we can do. We got some uranium charges, which I think are slightly less awesome than what I was using, but let's target some guys. I am looking for a particular dude called Wolf, who has sent me little nasty chat messages in the past. Now, throughout the course of this particular sequence of 10 missions, I also don't know how long this mission is going to take. Some of the missions proper can take a fair amount of time. Even you know, some of the level 1 missions, especially when you're a new pilot and don't really have optimal skill loadout or anything like that. So I want to orbit them to keep moving so that I can take advantage, first of all, of the afterburners that I have. And also, we've got some more guys popped in. I say let them do the work of coming to me. Guys in this level of mission are not going to be able to target me. Later on, there absolutely will be ships that can target you at 28 kilometers, but these guys can't. So let's loot that first. I can't target them at 23 kilometers, that's for sure. And we've got, I don't know what this is. It looks like some kind of old Stargate or something like that. We're going to fly into the middle of... This is a collidable structure, too, so we're probably going to get hung up to a certain extent on these. It's probably time to start firing at them. There's no sense wasting ammo when I'm at 22 kilometers with these guys, because my optimal range is 3,000 kilometers. You can mouse over the orbit button and right-click to set that default orbit distance. And you can also try and keep things at range as well, which is also sometimes handy. Not really in engagements of this size. Either I'm getting better at it, which is not impossible, I guess, or these Corelli spies are not as tough as the Corelli spies I faced in the previous mission in this sequence. Because that guy was kind of a chode. In the last The last batch I had to spend quite a bit of time beating on them before they went down. And here's another one too. You notice that the agent is actually a little higher bounty, so he's, in theory at least, supposed to be tougher. That may or may not be true. These are NPC bounties. There is a PC bounty system. You can put bounties on other players. In practice, it doesn't really work right, because what players can do is have their buddies blow them up, collect the bounty, and then split it at a time that's opportune when they're flying some kind of junk ship instead of something awesome. We're just in a tier 1 frigate here. This is not the freebie frigate you get as a total noob. It's the next frigate up, but it's not a great ship. The better newbie frigate, well, I should say the better frigate, it's not the newbie frigate, is the one that I actually get as the reward for this particular mission. Exactly what ship you get will depend on your race. Although in EVE Online you can fly any kind of ship you want. But as a Galente, I happened to start out with the skills to fly Galente ships. If I wanted to fly Minotaur ships, for example, I can certainly do that. It's just I have to train the skills up to do it. And the skills to be able to fly frigates are not particularly tedious to train. Once we get back to the station, that is something that I will show you, is how skill training in EVE Online works. It's a very novel system. It actually allows you to advance while you're out of game. A form of offline advancement, which we've seen a little bit of in some other games, but it's not what I would call a tremendously common thing. As you can see, I am taking some shield damage from these clowns, but not a whole lot. It's time to start firing at them. Shields regenerate by themselves. One earlier mission in this sequence actually was the kind of thing where you're supposed to scout some site, and you do kind of need to like complete the mission, scout the site, and get out, because you take quite a bit of damage from some ships and guns that are hanging around. Took me right into armor with no problem. Just wiped my shields clean off. The combat frigate that I will get as a reward for this mission, though, should have a noticeably better performance than the thing I'm flying now. Alright, so we have one wreck with stuff in it. This becomes even more efficient if you start salvaging, when you can really start getting a good chunk of money out of these missions. And if you run them with a buddy, too, who can come in after you're done and do the salvaging for you, and then you'll all split the proceeds at the end. That becomes quite efficient. Some of the higher end missions are intended as team missions too. That's not true of the tier 1 missions though. They're pretty much all soloable, unless you're a knob, which, hey, that happens. Wolf's Stasis Tower. Well, we gotta blow that up. Okay. So we do have some extra ammo that we got from loot, just in case we need it. And we're running pretty low on ammo here. However, Wolf's Stasis Tower, which looks to be stasising me at the moment, as you can see by my horrendous speed here. Let's throw up my shield booster. That is a shield buffer that increases my shield resistance to thermal damage. I don't actually know if these guys are dealing thermal damage or not, but I don't have anything else. I have an armor repairer, though, if I dip into armor here. There's a stolen Navy ship. Once I blow this stasis tower up, I'm willing to go into armor to do that. Then I will be moving considerably faster than this glacial pace. Uh-oh. Alright, let's throw some more ammo in there. It's a bad time for that to happen. Alright, we've blown that up. We got a cargo container. Let's throw on our... I don't have any shields to buff right now, so... We're about to run out of ammo on a couple of these other guns here, too. There it is. And as you can see, I'm now moving at something like 3 times the speed I was moving at before. And I am out of ammunition. All I have is what is in the guns, which is very smooth. Oh, great. Let's throw on my afterburner too here. My capacitor's empty, which has resulted in my... let's untarget this guy, because we need the wolf. And we're gonna pod the guy because he's a douche. Have a nice day.
A module has run out of charges.
Well, there's nothing I can do about that module that's out of charges right now. But I'm guessing I'll be able to take these 2 guys out, even short on ammo like this. Target this other clown. See, this stolen Navy ship has got the highest bounty of any ship I've seen so far on this character. I've been playing Eve since 2007, on and off. Mostly off, to be honest about it. It's been quite a while since I had gotten back to it. And I just suddenly got the itch to do sci-fi stuff. Tried to open that cargo container because I was briefly very close to it. So loot that, since we could. Sometimes objectives will drop those cargo containers. I probably should have given this a second before I hit the fire button on that guy. That's okay. I'll be able to take this down quite a bit more quickly. And then we'll be done. We will warp back to our base of operations 2 systems away. Having completed this mission in well under 3 hours. Or 6 hours, or whatever the bonus time limit was. And now I'm hoping I have enough ammo here. This is what I get, though, for not... I can right-click on the inventory screen and stack all these pieces of metal scraps. Long limb rose, which is some kind of... and here's a drone. Here's another gun. That looks like some kind of caviar. Don't know what it goes for. But I can look to see what it'll sell for on the market, but I don't want to fool around with that while I'm in an actual firefight, although this isn't a terribly engaging firefight. Let's hit my armor upper again. You can see I've gotten quite a bit of shield back. Alright, so I guess I'm not going to be able to take that last guy out. That's okay, not a big deal. I'm out 4800 disc. So we'll just fly over to this patrol vessel here. Loot all, which is something that you never used to be able to do. It's super handy. Alright, my capacitor is empty. And we want to go back to the Stargate, so we will right-click on it and click jump. We'll get out of here. My armor was repaired completely by the armor repper, which is good because it ran my capacitor out of energy. Different modules have capacitor requirements, for example, that when you turn them on, they will start eating into the energy produced by the generator aboard your ship. So in this case, the armor repper and I think this shield booster as well will actually eat a considerable amount of power. Plus the afterburner eats some power. This drive disruptor will eat some power if I'm using that. Drive disruption is a slightly complicated subject that I am not going to get into in the course of this video. So we're going to set our destination here, just to highlight the warp gate that we need to go to. I have managed to buy nothing off the market on this character so far. I have sold a couple of things, but because what has happened to me more than once on previous trial characters is you buy a skill that you know you're going to need, cybernetics, for example, which allows you to fit skill implants, which is something else we're probably not going to talk about in this video. You want this skill, and then you buy it, and you spent 65,000 ISK or whatever it was, and then the very next part of the tutorial that you go through gives it to you for free. And that's super annoying, so then I don't want to deal with it. So, my advice is to, none of the tutorial missions are terribly tough. Go through the tutorials before you start buying stuff if you're completely new to EVE Online. If you're like me and you've played the game before, then yeah, I think it's fair to have a little more flexibility. Let's go here. And actually we can click on here and click on dock.
Warp drive active.
This is one of those games where I tend to take a lot of screenshots. I actually haven't this time around because I think it's a really amazing looking game. The ships look cool. The astronomical stuff looks cool. And all these like stellar backgrounds and stuff recently got a makeover too, and sometime in the last year or so.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
So if you are new to EVE Online, I'm going to show you something about skills, and then I'm going to show you the captain's quarters. But first, let's start a conversation with our agent here and complete this mission. Okay, and we can go through those missions again if we want, but I don't see any good reason to do that. So we'll move all these products into our item hanger, and then go there. And just because I want to, I'm going to stack all. We're going to sell some stuff. You can easy sell these. Now, if you're so inclined, you can right-click on these things and either hit sell this item, in which case you'll get whatever the top price in that station is, or you can right-click and click view market details and see where they are selling for the most. So, for example, it looks as though this station's actually got the highest prices for these things. These metal scraps, and that may be because these are actually NPC buyers. I don't know, but I'm not aware of any use for this stuff, so we'll just sell this stuff here. Sell. There you go. Okay, this stuff I have no desire to play the trader in this game, but you know what? Let's take a look at the market values for these things. You can see right here that's 8 jumps away, which is quite a ways, and that getting there might take us through some. We'll go to location, we'll go to set destination. Yeah, you see, this takes us 8 jumps into low-sec space, which is something that we can do, but it may be a good idea to think really hard about whether we want to do that or not. In this case, I don't think I want to deal with that at this time, so what we will do is we'll close the market and we'll just sell this stuff. Now you can also put a sell order out for these things, and we want to keep the drones, because as a Galente, drones are kind of important. So doing this is basically the equivalent of vendoring things, but there's nothing that says we have to do that. What does the sharpshooter skill do anyway? Long-range weapons, plus 5% bonus to weapon turret optimal range per skill level, and that will be skill level in sharpshooter. Okay, so here's what we will do. We want to, if we're flying around with this skill book in our hold and our ship gets blown up, then we might lose the skill book. In fact, we will almost certainly lose the skill book. Now, this happens to not be a particularly expensive skill, so no big deal, but there are skills that cost 10 million ISK, and we don't want to deal with that. So once they're in our head, our character's head, we don't have to ever worry about losing them. So we can just click inject skill, and that disappears. Now, up here we have the Eve control panel, which is called the Neocom. And the top button here is our character sheet. And we have a whole bunch of different things that we could look at, but for now, in the purposes of this video, we're just going to talk about skills. So we'll go to skills, we'll go to, and this is the list of all the skills that I have at the moment. Sharpshooter's probably under gunnery. You'll see that we have it at level 0, but we have gunnery at level 4, and motion prediction at level 3, small hybrid turret at level 3, and weapon upgrades at level 2. So we will open up our training queue, and we can queue up to 24 hours worth of skills at any one time. So right now we have 23 hours and 26 minutes queued up. As this guy is supposed to be a combat character, we can just drag one of these skills right in here. In fact, we can drag more than one of these skills right in here. We're going to train 3 levels of sharpshooter right off the top. And then we hit apply. And now we have 1 day, 8 hours, 2 minutes, and 9 seconds worth of skills queued. Now, these skills train in real time. As you can see on Warp Drive Operation Level 3, I have 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 40-some seconds left. And that continues to clock down even while I'm not playing, even if I'm logged off, or at home, at work, whatever. So it lets you advance your character outside the context of the hours that you spend logged in to play the game. Primarily, you're going to log in to play the game to do things like run missions and make money and do trades and stuff like that. But your actual progression, in some sense at least, is not tied to anything that you do in the game. Your skills don't increase by doing things. Your personal skills as a player might increase by continuing to do stuff. And you also have the other type of advancement in Eve, which is making money to buy things. And the social aspect, too. Sometimes you don't have to be worried about making money if you have a corporation that will supply you with the ships that you want to fly. And that's not at all weird or uncommon. So before we sign off here, this is the traditional Eve hangar view. Now, you're pretty much totally safe while you're here. Before I forget to do this, by the way, let us take our ammunition, which we actually don't have much left, and throw it in the cargo hold so we have it. I'm going to need to buy some more, actually. So let's right-click, buy this type, and we're going to buy it here. So it's 25 ISK, which is slightly below market average, so we'll buy 1,000 of them. Let's throw that over here. Stack them up, and then we'll go to our fitting screen. You can do this in space, but it takes a little more time. Your weapons actually have a cooldown, so you cannot fire them while you are loading ammunition into them. Okay, so anyway, this is the traditional Eve hangar screen, what is affectionately called a ship spinning for this reason. If you can keep doing this without nauseating yourself, congratulations. However, if you zoom out a little bit, this is the maximum zoom out. You can see this is a pretty tiny ship. It's one of the smallest ships in the ship classes in the game. There will be bigger ships that will fill up most of this space. Up here is the captain's quarters. So let's go there. And this is the long-awaited walking in the stations feature of Eve, which is relatively rudimentary at the moment. This is my character. This is what he looks like. That was the most French character I could possibly make, as far as I could tell. You can see my ship out here. You can see that if you were in the ship spinning screen, the ship's actually down here. But up here, and when they originally launched this feature, I think the ship was down there, but they actually put it up here so that you could see it without squinting. You can walk around in the captain's quarters. This works off traditional movement controls like WASD, although you can move with the mouse too. Animation's a little poncy, I think, but I haven't seen the female animation. Maybe it's different. I don't have any female characters in Eve. So this is the actual quarters, and if you want to leave the captain's quarters, you can go over here, and mouse over this button, station door, and get told that the station atmosphere is not yet decontaminated for capsuleer consumption, which is the fancy way of saying that that feature is not yet available. But basically all these menu functions that you were able to access in the ship spinning screen are also available in different places in your captain's quarters. So for example, you can go to the mirror here, and this goes to character customization. So I can click that and re-customize my character. I can sit down on the sofa here, and I can access a bunch of different menus. You can find agents, you can do different things with your ship, you can go to, you can click on your little wall display here and get different things. This will take you to your agent, or some agent anyway. This will take you to planetary interaction, and this will take you to a corporation screen. Now, if you're not in a corporation in EVE, which is slightly confusing because you always are in a corporation in EVE. You're in an NPC corporation when you start playing, which you don't want to stay in generally. It's not a particularly rewarding game to be a completely solo player in. You want at least, even if you don't wish to join a player corporation, you at least want to have player corporations or groups of players that you're on good terms with, so that you can coordinate activities with them and not get shot by them. And if you want to go into nullsec or no security space, then that becomes even more important. Looks like we got some like boxes of Girl Scout cookies or something here. So we've got a lot of different options, but mostly this this captain quarters right now is just a way for you to get a look in with quite impressive graphics at what your character looks like. You didn't used to be able to get out of your ship at all. You were just plugged into it at all times in a pod containing some goop. I'll show you the pod here. This is the undock button, which you can click on this, or you can click down here to undock. But we're not leaving again in the course of this video, so I hope you have enjoyed this look at EVE Online. It is a subscription-based game, but there are a couple of ways around that subscription. You can buy a code in the game with in-game currency. If you make enough in-game currency, that's good for 30 days of game time. That's a considerable amount of money. They run about 400 million ISK right now, which is an amount of money that you will have a very difficult time as a completely new player coming up with. But it doesn't take as long as you would think to be able to get that much income in a month. What takes a little bit longer is for you to be able to get that much income in a month and still have money left over to have the money to do other things in the game. So I think for most people it's probably a straight subscription game. There is a 14-day trial available, as I mentioned at the start of the video. If you send me a YouTube message with your email address, I can send you a 21-day buddy referral key. So if you're interested in that, send me a heads up. Check out the notes below because they contain links to my website at ardwulfslair.wordpress.com, as well as links to my sites on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, so that you can add me to your social networking circles. I have more videos on the way. I hope that you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you next time.